Mehak, can you go to the next slide? Okay. Okay. So in graphology, do you all know that your mind controls your entire body, right? Everything that happens in your body is through whatever your mind says. So now your thumb, the thumb that you have or the fingers that you have hold the most space in your brain. The most space in your brain is what your fingers have. So every time that you're writing, all the cells in your brain are activated. 18,000 cells in your brain are active in your body are activated when you use your fingers or when you are writing. So what happens is that when you are writing, your brain, all the cells are active. So whatever you're thinking consciously and subconsciously, all of that is seen through your handwriting. Now, do you all know the difference between conscious and subconscious mind? So conscious is what you all are thinking right now. You know, you all are studying with me, you all are learning right now. All of this is happening in your conscious mind. And your subconscious mind is something which has all your past memories.
Dwaniji, can you unmute yourself? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Can you all still, where did you all your Saibji?
No, you are fine. Okay.
Okay, okay. So your subconscious mind has all your past memories, past events, your experiences, everything that you've known through as a child. That is your subconscious mind. And 85% of your brain has is your subconscious mind, and 15% is your conscious mind. In handwriting, you can see everything that is stored in your conscious as well as your subconscious mind. So 100% of your personality is seen through your handwriting. This is what graphology is. Okay, Mahek, can you go to the next slide? Okay. So firstly, now we need to learn one thing. So you all know of a computer, right? You all know how to use a computer. All of you all are very good with computer. You all know how to learn. You all know how the CPU works, how the hardware works, how the software works. So you all know that it is made of 0 and 1, the beta system, all of that. There is 0-1 programming in the computer. You all have heard about 0-1 programming. And you all know, right? In the computer is made by, it's man-made. We have made the computer. So we have put 0 and 1. We have taught the computer everything. So whatever, when we tell the computer that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, we explain it through 0 and 1, right? All the programming is done through the concept of 0 and 1 in the computer. In the same way, this is what we have done in a man-made way. In the same way, in the natural way, what God has created us again through the process of 0 and 1. The way the way our computers have 0-1 programming, we as humans also have 0-1 programming. Now how do humans have 0-1 programming? Do you all know? So what will happen? Your 0 is your mother and your 1 is your father, and 0 and 1, mother and father, make you. Correct? So basically 0 is your mother figure. And now when I say mother, I mean all the qualities of mother. I mean caring person, a loving person, a person filled with emotions, a person.
जो मैं करता हूँ वो
मेरे फोन पे चार्ज.
Okay, no problem. So zero is all related to your mother. All her emotions, her care, her concern, her softness, all of that will be 0. And what is 1? 1 is your father. So father will have all the qualities which are included in 1 will be action, sports, money, physical activity. All of that is in 1. So 0 is about softness and 1 is about action oriented. And how are you going to become a perfect person when you have a perfect balance of 0 and 1? Correct? Where you have all the emotions plus you have all the practical knowledge. You have all your mother's qualities and your father's quality. That is what makes you, right? So this is a very important concept of graphology, where we learn about 0 and 1 programming, where 0 stands for mother and 1 stands for father or father figure. Okay. Then we'll move ahead. Okay. So now we learn about how our basic thought process is. Okay. How you must be wondering that how does your handwriting have all the qualities, all the how does your handwriting show the personality? So we learn about that. Okay, so we'll take an example of some guy. You'll want to give me a name, or we'll take a random name. Okay, we'll take a random name. So, okay, Rajesh. Someone has written Rajesh. So we take the example of Rajesh. Okay, so there is a boy whose name is Rajesh. Now, Rajesh, first, every time a person, Rajesh will first have a thought before anything else. There will be a small thought. The small thought could be anything. The thought could be that, I'm a small child right now, but once I grow up, can someone has unmuted themselves. Can you all mute? Thank you. Okay, so we're taking the example of a guy called Rajesh. So now Rajesh had a simple thought. The thought was that, right now I'm not in a good financial position, but once I grow up, I want to be a very rich person. So the first thing that Rajesh has is a simple thought, a thought in his mind that, okay, I don't want to live a poor life. Once I grow up, I want to become rich. That is his thought. Now, because he has this thought, he keeps repeating this thought to himself. We all talk to ourselves, don't we? So we all are talking to ourselves, and in our mind we're constantly saying that, one day I want to become rich, one day I want to do this, one day I want to earn money, I want to do this. So all the thoughts that you have, they're converted into words. You're talking to yourself, you're saying things, so your thoughts are converted into words. Now, once you're saying in your mind that I want to become rich, I want to do this, I want to do that, so then you see someone very rich, you see for example, you see Ratan Tata, you see Steve Jobs, you see somebody, and you're like, okay, this person is rich and I want to become like this person. So what do I need to do? I need to, okay, they invest, okay, I'll start investing. Do they okay, they save money, okay, I'm going to save money. Oh, they work hard, they work from morning to night, okay, I'm going to work every day. So the thought that they had, which they were putting into words, now that word has become an action. They have started taking an action. They started waking up early. They started going for work every day. They started putting actions to their words. So the thoughts which were words have now become action. Okay. So now, okay, Mara Sahib. So these are their actions. Now, because they have started waking up early every day, because they want to become rich, what do? They do this every day. They do this for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They do this for a long time. Now what happens when you do something for a long time? It becomes your habit, correct? So the thought, which was a word, which then became an action, has now become a habit, right? Now, because you have a habit and you constantly do something, it becomes a part of your routine. You do it every day. So what happens? It becomes a part of your characteristic. It becomes a part of your personality. So a thought which you had has eventually become your characteristic, your personality. And graphology, when I remember, I told you all, when you all write, all your thoughts are written onto paper. So eventually your entire characteristic is written on the paper. This is how your entire personality is on the paper. Did you all get this? Okay. Okay, Mehak, move ahead. Okay. So now in this introduction, okay, you'll have to remember that when you all are a child, so when you all are from 0 to 6 years, you need your mother the most. You need your mother's concern, her care. You need your mother's touch. You need your mother's presence. So from 0 years, from the day you're born till you're 6 years, you need your mother the most. And just from 6 to 14 years, you need your father the most, because that is when you start learning how to cycle, you start learning how to run, you start learning sports. All of those things are taught to you by your father. So from 0 to 6, you need your mother's presence the most. And from 6 to 14 years, you need your father's presence the most. This is just an introduction, guys. I'm telling you all this right now because later when we'll start analyzing handwriting, we'll realize how important it is to know about the 0-1 programming, to see how the mother and father have affected you and how it is reflected on your handwriting. Okay? Okay, Mehak, go ahead. Okay. So from this, we're starting the first concept of graphology. Rest of everything was introduction. Now we're starting with the first concept of graphology. Now the first thing about graphology that we're going to learn is about the zones. Now in zones, I want you all to tell me that everything from your head, to from head to your chest, what is that? What zone is that? Is it upper zone? Is it middle zone? Or is it lower zone? Will someone tell me? From your head to your chest, what zone is that? Upper, middle, or lower?
Upper zone.
Yeah, perfect, Yashika, if I'm pronouncing your name right. Okay, then your stomach part, what zone is that?
Middle zone.
Correct. And from your legs, what zone is that?
Lower zone.
Lower zone.
Lower zone.
Perfect. Perfect. So now, if your upper zone is your head, what does your head mainly do? Your head mainly thinks. All the ideas that you get, all the ideas, all your smartness, all your thoughts, everything that you think, everything that all the decisions that you take, everything is coming from your head, right? So that is upper zone. And in graphology, upper zone stands for the same thing. Upper zone in the handwriting stands for intelligence, sharpness, your thoughts, your mindset, your decision making power, your spirituality, all of that will be in the upper zone. Now, what is upper zone? See, there are examples on the slide. Can you all see B? So the letter B has an upper zone. The letter D has an upper zone. The letter F has an upper zone. K has an upper zone. L has an upper zone. And letter T has an upper zone. Correct? You all understood this?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll go to the middle zone. Now, middle zone is about your stomach. Okay. And middle zone. So what will mainly middle zone do? It's about having food, right? Stomach is it's about food. So middle zone is about parties. It's about picnics. It's about gossiping. It's about eating good food. It's about traveling. It's about talking to people. It's about fun, frolic. So all of that will be middle zone. So now what are the examples of middle zone? Which letters are only in middle zone? A is in middle zone, right? A does not have anything above. So it does not have any upper zone. It does not even have any lower zone. It only has a middle zone. Correct? So the letter A, C, E, I, M, N, O, R, S, U, V, W, X. All of these are only in the middle zone. And then comes lastly the lower zone, which is your legs. So what will your legs do? Your legs will mainly play sports. You will play sports. You will do some physical activities. You will earn money. You will play on the ground. All of those things you will do through your lower zone are known as the lower zone activities. So what are the examples of lower zone? G, because G goes down. J, Q, Y, and Z. Those are lower zone. Now you must be thinking that, why have I related my body with my upper zone, lower zone, and middle zone? So the reason is that these letters, the upper zone letters indicate sharpness and intelligence. The middle zone letters indicate parties, picnics, and the lower zone indicates money, past, sports. So when you always start learning, yeah.
Isn't Z a middle zone letter?
What? G is a?
Z.
Okay, yeah. No, so normally here they have written Z like this, but normally when we do a small s, we do Z like this, right? Most of us draw a Z in the lower zone. The way we draw a G and a Y, most of us draw Z like that, correct? A very few people draw Z only in the middle zone. So mainly we have to understand which letter will indicate what. Like for example, if you've written a very tall B, it means your upper zone is very powerful. If you've written a very long G, it means the lower zone is very powerful. If your A is very broad, it means the middle zone is very powerful. So now what do we have to learn from this? If our A, C or M is very broad and powerful, what does that mean? It means we love to picnic, we love to party, we love to gossip. If our upper zone is very good, if we have a very long B, if we have a very long H, if we have a very long L, what does it mean? It means we are very intelligent, we are very smart, we're constantly thinking, we constantly have ideas. And if our lower zone is very powerful, it means we're very good at sports, we're going to earn a lot of money. Correct? So now when you all look at your own handwriting, you'll have to see which zone is most powerful for you all. Is your upper zone very good? Is your middle zone very good? Or is your lower zone very good? What's the thing you love the most? So have you all understood zones with this?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll move to the next slide. Okay. So now in graphology, there are two methods. One method is the Gestalt method and one method is the trait method. Now in the Gestalt method, what I mean by Gestalt method is that even if I've kept a paper very far from me, but I can still analyze the handwriting by looking at the pressure of the handwriting, by looking at the zones, by looking at the margins, by looking at the slant of the handwriting, all of that, even if my paper is here, I can still see those things. I think that, when you can analyze the handwriting from very far also, it means that all of those things will be in the Gestalt method. Now, what is trait method? The letter A to Z, when we'll do letter A, letter B, letter C, when we'll do all the letters, we can't see the letters right from there, right? We need the paper to be here to see the letters, correct? So everything that you have to do in a lot of detail, everything that you're going to do very closely is going to be trait method. And everything that you're going to do on a very common scale, or which you can see from far also, all of that is going to be Gestalt method. So in Gestalt method, we will be doing zones, which we've already done. We're going to be doing margins today. Then tomorrow we'll be doing slants. We'll be doing the size of the handwriting. All of that will be Gestalt. And then when we'll do A to Z, that will be trait method. So there are two methods of graphology, Gestalt method and trait method. So zones was Gestalt method. Now we are moving on to margins, which will also be Gestalt method. Okay. Now we are going to learn about the concept of page. So now in concept of page, so what we have 24 hours, right? We have 24 hours. And there is no discrimination. God has not discriminated between 24 hours. All of you have 24 hours. I have 24 hours. You have 24 hours. Your friends have 24 hours. Someone in India has 24 hours. Someone in Belgium has 24 hours. Everybody's got 24 hours, correct? In the same way, when I say that I'm giving you all a blank page, and I give all of you all a blank page, you'll equally have a blank page. Now, the way we want to use our 24 hours, we can use it however we want. I can probably enjoy the entire day and not do any work. I can be very neat, or I can be very lousy. I can be very dirty. I can scribble on the, so if I'm very neat, through the entire day, my page is also going to be very neat. If I'm going to be very dirty, I'm going to keep scribbling on the page. If I'm going to spend the entire day properly, I'm going to write on the entire page. If I'm going to waste a lot of time, I'm going to leave a lot of space on my page. So your 24 hours are equal to one page that you'll write. A one blank page that you'll have is equal to the 24 hours that you'll have. So everything that you write on the paper is equal to the 24 hours that you'll have. Is this clear? So now the paper, okay, so how the paper starts. So your day begins from say 6 a.m. Okay, then it goes from 6 a.m. to like from 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So in the same way, the paper starts from up and it goes to up, from up, middle, low. So that's your day to night. So the upper part is your day, the middle part is your afternoon, and the night part is your, and the lower part is your night. So come on, now this is just a random guess. If you all have left the first part empty, you'll start writing from the middle part of the paper. What does it mean about your day? Anyone wants to try? It's a random guess.
You were sleeping in the morning.
Correct. So we'll be wasting a lot of time in the morning and we'll be sleeping in the morning. That is why we've left the start or the first part of the page blank and we've started writing from the middle part. Now, what if someone leaves the last part empty? What does that mean?
They wish for night time.
Yeah, correct. And now what if someone doesn't leave any space on the page? They start right from left to the right from up to the bottom. There's no space. Everything is covered. What does that mean?
They're utilizing their time well.
Yes, you're utilizing, but more than anything, because the entire thing is covered, it means this person is going to be an extremely workaholic person. The person's going to work 24/7. Correct? So in the paper, there are three concepts of day, afternoon, and night. Also, the above part will be your past, the middle part will be your present, and the lower part will be your future. Correct? Now, vertically, the left part is going to be your past, the middle part is going to be your present, and the right part is going to be your future. 1 second, I'll just read could you explain what you mean by wasting time? I don't understand. Okay. So it's not wasting time, but I'm going to teach you all three concepts through the concept of page. Now, just the way a page is, that is exactly how our day is. So our day has 24 hours. The page has 24 hours. Now, the upper part is your past. The middle part is your present. And the lower part of the paper is your future. In the same way, the left part is your past, the middle thing is your present, and the last thing is your future. The same way, this part is your day, this is your afternoon, this is your night. So when you leave a lot of space over here, it means that you are not utilizing your time in the morning very nicely. If you leave a lot of space in the last part, it means you are probably you're a morning person than a night person. If you're leaving a lot of space in the lower part, it means that you've not thought a lot about your future yet. Otherwise you would have filled the lower part, because that is also future. Have you understood the concept of page?
So basically, if you look at the top part, days, so that basically means that you're more of a, let's say, night person.
Yes.
And then for the bottom, it would be you're more of a morning person.
Correct. And you could also take the same for past, present, and future. And all of this goes vertically also. Past, present, future, past, present, future.
Okay.
Understood?
Yes.
Okay, we'll go ahead, Mehak. Okay, now we're going to learn about margins. Okay, so now margins are something, they show your approach to the environment. They show that, if you're living in the past or if you're living in the future, they show your approach towards the future. Now, we had learned in the concept of page that if you leave the left part, okay, that's about your past, correct? So now in margins, we're going to learn about margins in detail today. So we'll go to the first margin, Mehak. Okay. So first, there are four kinds of margins. There is left margin, there is right margin, there is upper margin, and there is lower margin. We know, right? In school, we used to all have these books where there was like a red margin on the left-hand side. And then in some books, we used to have like a margin on the right hand side. And in some books, you remember we used to have a margin on the up. The starting two lines, we used to always have a margin. And some books also had like a lower margin. So we're going to learn about these 4 margins in detail. Okay, so now we're going to do about the left margin. So when we did the concept of page, I told you all what does left stand for. Anyone wants to try? What does left stand for?
Past.
Yeah, correct. So it is also, so left margin is also past. It's also your culture, because your origin is basically past, right? It's about from the place that you were originated, your culture, all of those things are of your past. So left margin is always about your past, your culture, your origin, your rules, your regulations. You can write all this down, or you all will get it later on also. It's about your rules, your regulations, your parents, your elders, your past. All of that is going to be left margin. So if someone leaves a left margin, if someone doesn't, if you all, when you all will tell people to analyze, you'll have to give a blank paper which does not have any margins. But even after you give them a blank paper and they end up leaving the left margin, what do you think they would have? Anyone wants to try? If someone leaves the left margin, if someone doesn't do anything in the left margin, the left margin is left, they don't write. Present, yes. What else?
Maybe they don't really care
Thinking about the past.
Yeah. So when someone respects the left margin, when someone leaves the left margin, when someone doesn't write on the left, it means that these people are going to follow a lot of rules and regulations. These people love living their life in discipline. These people have a very disciplined life. They care a lot for their elders. These people are going to respect their teachers a lot. These people are going to take care of the elderly. They're going to take care of their parents. They're going to follow the system of the society. They're going to follow the norms of the country. These people are going to control themselves. They're going to be controlled people. This person is never going to break the rules and regulations of the society. If they leave the margin blank or fill in it. No, if they leave the margin blank. So in school, at least I don't know about that, but in Indian schools, they always encouraged that, the left margin is supposed to be left blank. We always had books as a child. We always had books with a left margin made, and we were never allowed to write in the left margin. So why do you think the schools did that? Because they wanted to teach the children how to respect elders, how to respect the teachers, how to follow the rules and regulations. And once you came in college, you had books where you didn't have margins. But in school, they always encouraged having a left margin, because that was for the discipline and rules and regulations, and how controlled you are, and how much control you have on yourself. How attached are you to your origin? How attached are you to your to the place you were born? So all of this is going to be in the left margin. Mehak, can you move ahead? Okay, so now this we're going to do straight left margin. So when someone has a left, when someone leaves space in the left and they have a proper left margin, it means these people are very disciplined. They tend to follow the rules and regulations. They're attached to their family. They have a lot of care and respect for parents, teacher, society. They're very controlled. They're loved by their teachers. And they have a natural inclination comes from their father. We've done all of this, right? This was just a revision for you all to write down or note this point. Tell me once all are done, we'll shift to the next one. Okay, we'll move ahead. Let's move ahead, Mehak. Okay, so now we are going to do narrow left margin. So now, do you all want to guess? You all want to read this? So when the left margin is very narrow, you're writing in the past. What does that mean? It shows the writer's attachment to the past. This person has a lot of past memories. They're very proud of their past. They're very proud of the past that they've had, about the family that they've had, about the parents that they've had. They're very connected to their origin. Sometimes these people are also stuck in the past. Now, what do I mean by when I say stuck in the past? These people are very stuck in the memories that they have. You know, they're always thinking about their past memories, their family, their culture. They love their village. They're so proud of their religion. And these people cannot let go of things easily. They're very stubborn on things and they cannot let go very easily. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Mehak? Okay, now what if the wide, if the margin is very wide, what if there is a wide left margin? What does it mean? If the left margin is very wide, then it means that this person has created a distance between themselves and their past. It's like he's putting an imaginary barrier between his present life and his past life. He doesn't want to go back to his past. He wants to live in the present. He doesn't want to think about his past. Hello? Can you all
Yeah,
hear me?
Dhwani, continue.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
So we'll go to the right margin. Because the left was always about the past. Now what will right be for? The right is about the future. So the right margin is about your future. It's about your opportunities. It's about the... No sound, ma'am. Can you hear me now? Am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes.
you're clear. It's clear.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. So the right margin is about the future, about the opportunities that you have, about the risk-taking ability that you have. It's about the confidence level that you have. It's about the challenges that you're going to take in the future. It's about your eagerness to meet your future, to fight your future, to face your future, to do something in your future, to take risks, to take opportunities. All of that is seen through the right margin. Okay, Mehak, go to the next slide. Okay, so now we're going to do narrow right margin. So now what if the right margin is very narrow? There is not a huge right margin. The right margin is very narrow. There's hardly some space. What does that mean? It means that you are also writing in the future, correct? You're writing the future. So now what will writing in the future mean? It means you are confident enough to face your future. That is why you're writing in the right margin. So it means you are a risk taker. You're going to take a lot of risks in a very good way. You have an opportunity taking attitude. You're confident to face your future. You're constantly looking ahead about what you're going to do, what your plans are, what your career plans are, what life is going to unfold at you. All of those things. You're going to be very outgoing and you will have good self-control on yourself. You would love to try out new things. But because you're writing in the right, it also means that you would not care about a lot of other people's feelings, because feelings is about the past, which is the left margin. So when you're writing in the right, it means that you will not care a lot about other people's feelings because you're very concerned about your future. You're going to be a workaholic. Just give me a second. So this is about narrow right margin. Now we're going to move on to wide right margin. So now what about when you leave a lot of space in the towards the right? What will that mean? It means this writer is not ready to face the future. This person is not writing in the future. This person is not writing in the right hand side. It means these people are not ready to face the future. As soon as this person goes towards the future, something pulls him back. So he's trying to write in the right, but he's not being able to. Something is pulling him back to the past. So this person is not ready to face the future. Something is pulling this person back. This person is missing out on a lot of opportunities which are given to them. So this person is missing a lot of opportunities given to them. And this could also be, when is a person not ready to face their future? Why is a person so scared to face their future? Why are they not excited to face their future? It could also be because there's a possibility that they have seen some failure in their life, which is stopping them now from taking a risk, from taking an opportunity. There's a possibility that this person or this person's parents or grandparents have seen some kind of failure, because of which they have become very scared. These people are going to think 10 times before doing anything, because they have no risk-taking ability. So you all should note has a job loss and note that all your handwriting are temporary. So there is a possibility that when a person has a wide right margin, they're going through some failure in their life, or they're going through something which they're very scared about. It's not always going to be true. Maybe after a year, their handwriting could change. They could start in the right. Writing is always temporary. Okay, Mehak, go to the next slide. Mehak? Okay, now we're going to do crushed right margin. These people who, so now what do I mean by crushed right margin? Now, if you all see towards the end, if there is a ing, so like if you're writing singing, and that's singing, you're crushing the handwriting towards the end. So you're writing SING. Can we have 15 minutes? Answer. Can we have 15 minutes? Yeah, we're going to end in 15 minutes. Is that the question?
Okay, you can continue.
Okay. You wanna do this tomorrow, or can I continue for 15 minutes?
No, if 3 minutes, you can continue.
3 minutes.
No,
Hello.
they can have the conversation. Means the kids can ask the questions. We can keep the 15 minutes open session for the kids so that if they can
Correct.
ask the question.
Okay. So should I complete margins and then ask them, or should we continue with
No,
this tomorrow?
you can complete it, this one.
Okay, great. Okay, so for crushed right margin, now if you all are writing singing or dancing and the ing is getting into a cluster, you all are writing it, you all are writing it in a very crushed way, or it's going in the next page, then what will that mean? It means it is a very bad sign. Every time you all are hiring a driver, please check their handwriting. If they have a crushed right margin, please do not hire them, because they are very accident prone. If your driver has a crushed right margin, these people are going to face a lot of accidents in their life, because they're not being able to keep a correct estimate. Now when you are writing, you have a correct estimate, right? That okay, this word is going to fit. How do you not have that estimate? How do you crush the handwriting towards the end? This is what they will do in real life also. They will not have a proper estimate, so they will not be able to drive properly. They will not know how much space is there ahead. These people are very impulsive. These people do not plan things properly. They don't, so they might be wasting the entire day and then doing all the work in half an hour, or they might be doing everything in the morning and having the last part of the day free. So these people have no time management. These people can't plan things properly. They're unable to see the inevitable. These people continue their life and career in the same way they are continuing the handwriting. When they know that a word is not going to fit, but they still keep fitting the word, it means they're going on in the page even when they should have ended. It means they're going to do the same with their lives. They're going to go on continuing with the career even if they know that their career has ended over here. So these people are not going to leave their jobs easily. Even if they are into a loss, they are going to keep on continuing because they don't know when to stop. The way they're not being able to stop on the paper, they're not going to be able to stop in their life or in their career. They just keep moving ahead in any particular field without having a particular goal. And eventually these people crash. If such a thing is even once on the page, if there is a crushed writing even once on the page, it is going to be bad. And if there is a crushed writing more than 2 times on the page, it means this person is surely going to have an accident. So please do not let this person drive if there is crushed right margin twice on one paper. Okay, then we'll go to the next.
Listen,
Okay,
we'll do later on.
Okay, we'll do this later on. We'll continue this from tomorrow. Okay, Mehak, do you want to have the quiz or do we want to do it tomorrow? There's a Mehak, is your quiz prepared?
Like, yeah, the quiz is prepared, but then again, like it contains like upper margin and the lower margin.
So is it okay if we don't do upper margin and lower margin today, but
not
we do
being
the rest of the quiz today? Hello?
And you
Hello.
can ask the questions if they want. And
Your
we'll
voice is
upload the
cracking, darling.
Sorry, Mehak?
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, can you do the quiz till the right margin? Can we ask them questions?
Till the right.
Please,
I'll just
anybody can
check
ask the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please
if
take the
you all
question
have
down.
question answer round, till that time I'll just edit it and keep.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions from whatever we did today?
Yes. Excuse me.
Yes.
If we draw the line on right margin, keeping a gap more than finger, what it means?
Your voice is not clear. Can you repeat?
If we draw the line on right margin and write the paper.
I
Okay.
cannot. Can you write it on message?
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah, if you draw the right margin, as far as I heard, you are asking if we
On
draw
right
the
side, on right side, if we draw the margin and we just write the paper, so what it
Okay.
means? If we just stop the, means what right is future